It was a beautiful day for a hike, and Rachel couldn't wait to explore the new trail she had discovered in the woods behind her house. She had always loved spending time in nature, and the thought of discovering something new was thrilling. As she made her way deeper into the woods, Rachel began to feel uneasy. The trees loomed overhead, blocking out the sunlight, and strange noises echoed through the forest. She tried to push aside her fears, telling herself it was just her imagination, but the feeling of being watched never went away. As she rounded a bend in the trail, Rachel came to a clearing. In the center of the clearing was a large, gnarled tree that seemed to radiate an ominous energy. She felt drawn to it, but as she approached, she heard a voice whispering her name. Rachel spun around, but there was no one there. The forest had become eerily quiet, and a chill ran down her spine. She tried to leave the clearing, but the path was gone. In its place was an impenetrable wall of trees. As darkness fell, Rachel realized that she was lost. She tried to retrace her steps, but the forest seemed to shift and change around her. She heard the voice again, calling her deeper into the woods. Days turned into weeks, and Rachel was still lost in the dark forest. She had no food or water, and her clothes were torn and ragged. Every time she thought she saw a way out, it vanished before her eyes. One day, she stumbled upon a small cabin. It was old and abandoned, but it offered some shelter from the elements. As she explored the cabin, she found a journal left behind by its previous occupant. The pages were filled with warnings about the dark forest, about the spirits that haunted its depths. Rachel was horrified to realize that she was not alone in the forest. The spirits were watching her, waiting for her to make a mistake. She tried to leave the cabin, but the door wouldn't budge. She was trapped, and the spirits were closing in. The dark forest had claimed another victim. Days turned into weeks, and Rachel remained trapped in the cabin, surviving on meager rations and the water from a nearby stream. She spent her days reading the journal and searching for a way out. But every time she tried to leave, she was met with an impenetrable wall of trees. As time passed, Rachel began to notice strange things happening in the cabin. Objects moved on their own, and she heard whispers and footsteps in the night. She tried to ignore it, telling herself it was just her imagination, but the feeling of being watched never went away. One night, Rachel awoke to find a figure standing at the foot of her bed. It was a woman, with long, tangled hair and eyes that glowed in the darkness. She spoke in a language that Rachel couldn't understand, and then vanished into thin air. Terrified, Rachel knew that she had to find a way out of the dark forest. She scoured the journal for any clues, and eventually found a passage that spoke of a ritual that could appease the spirits of the forest. Rachel gathered the materials she needed and performed the ritual, hoping against hope that it would work. As she finished, she felt a gust of wind and heard the sound of trees creaking and swaying. When she opened the door of the cabin, she found that the path had reappeared, leading her out of the dark forest. As she emerged from the woods, Rachel collapsed on the ground, tears streaming down her face. She had survived the dark forest, but she knew that she would never be the same. The spirits had left their mark on her, and she would carry the weight of their presence with her for the rest of her days.
Don't forget, like and subscribe for more stories. And don't be spellbound.